Annyeong, it's Mikey here, and another switch for the Switch Week. Today is going to be another switch from Unikeys, and we gotta try out the Golden Apple from BSUN. This is supposed to be an interesting switch with a PI bottom housing. We're gonna have to see how this sounds. I'll even add in the sound test my secret, which has the PI plate in it, and that way you guys can hear a difference between a little bit more with the specific switch, because quite interesting and a new type of material for a switch, of course. Please make sure to like and subscribe, and let's get right into this sound tests. Introducing to you the BSUN Golden Apple. This is from Unikeys. They sent this out to me because this is an interesting new switch with a very interesting new housing. The bottom housing is now made with PEI, which I'm really curious how that's going to sound. So let's go into the sound test, and I'll even give you guys a PEI plate sound test. Now, the thing about the switch that I noticed is that it does have a more like BSUN Thoki type of sound profile. Even though the bottom housing is PEI, I would say that this is still leaning towards the BSUN Thoki tactile kind of sound profile. The interesting thing is that I thought it would provide maybe a type of like solid sound, but one thing I felt was that it actually had a little bit more of close to a plasticky sound. This is just something I personally felt with these switches, but overall, I do think these switches work better with foamed boards than foamless. Now the travel distance, so 17.9 going to 14.4, that's coming out to a total of 3.5 millimeters. This time it only went to 3.4 millimeters, which they say it's supposed to be 3.3 millimeter travel, and there's going to be always plus or minus with a little bit of that distance. Now opening up the switch itself to take a look, one of the things I felt for this switch was that it's feels kind of plastic. Like it has that like plastic feel to it, which if you ever have a PEI plate, you will kind of get that feel where PEI, it feels a little bit more solid, but in this case, it didn't really feel different than the PC top housing. Now, the stem itself. So going into the stem, you can see here that it has a lot of lubing. This is the reason why I didn't do my own hand lubing, because these stems already come very lubed. In case of BSUN, that's just how it is. Their switches are very heavily lubed, and this is going to be for like pretty much most BSUN switches, and that's why I decided that BSUN ones, I'm not going to do a clean off and then do my own hand lubing. We're just going to go with the stock, especially with current ways that switches are done now. You don't really have to lube them as much. I'll only do them for those switches that really don't have any lubing at all, just to see if there's any differences. Now the spring itself. So the spring measurement, I measured it at a total of 20.3-ish millimeters. The measurement for this was kind of interesting because it wasn't exactly like 20, but it actually was a little bit more than 20 millimeters. This is something I felt quite interesting with this because normally speaking, you would get a little bit more of like exactly 21 or 20. This one kind of felt like in between. It could have been sitting at about 20.5. Now, the interesting thing about the bottom housing with the PEI is that the rails actually do have quite a lot of loop in them. So this is something to also keep in mind for yourselves of why you don't actually have to hand loop BSUN switches. And that's a nice thing, right? Hand looping switches can really become a hassle, especially if you have a lot. And that's kind of the case for me, where I feel like I spend a lot of the time just looping switches. Now, the decibel test. So just to see how loud these switches are, they are on the medium, I would say loudness wise. They're averaging around the 63 decibels is what I measured it, doing the decibel testing. I felt that these are going to be definitely a little bit quieter than say the Icy Ice Mango that I did recently, but they're still going to have some type of loudness to them, and they're not going to be very quiet or like too mushy. Now, in terms of the actual bump, it is going to be a P-shaped bump because it starts from the top, and it does have the travel, and then you have a little bit of travel after the bump where it can actually move a little bit. It's not a lot. It kind of feels like maybe 0.3 millimeters of travel afterwards. It's a very, very small amount of travel. Now going into the stem wobble test. So the top end, you do get a little bit of rattling vertically, not too much horizontally. Once you do press down the switch itself, you will see that there is going to be some movement. So these switches do have a bit of stem wobble. When you press it in with tweezers, it actually doesn't show the movement as much. For example, if you have a keycap on there and you start moving it, you will see that there is definitely a lot more movement horizontally and even vertically. But the horizontal stem wobble, some people really may not enjoy. Now, in terms of the backlighting, yes, the color does get affected. You are going to get more of what some people have called this the piss color. It is actually very that yellow, and it will affect the lighting of your keyboard if you do like to use backlighting. Now going into the spreadsheet, which by the way, guys, join the Discord. If you come join the Discord, I have the spreadsheet available now. It's a shared spreadsheet where you can come and take a look at yourself. Just keep in mind, this isn't the most accurate spreadsheet. This is just something I made to give people a way to kind of measure and see what switch lands where and what kind of thing they're looking for. So I hope this helps you guys. So come join the Discord and share with me your personal findings with the spreadsheet. Now, the BSUN Golden Apple, it's definitely not as stocky as the strawberry cheesecake one. The strawberry cheesecake is definitely going to be on the deeper side. And I would say overall, it's a lighter thock, but with the foamless boards, it can kind of come off more marbly towards like kind of clacky medium profile-ish. But still, it still leans towards like a light thock area. And I think these are not too bad in terms of that with the sound profile and the feel of the switches. I'll have the links in the description for you guys. Go check it out for yourselves. But remember, you can use code Mikey, save 7% on Unikeys website. And of course, go check out the other videos I got, because I'm going to have many different switch videos or different board videos, and you guys can really see what you're looking at. And of course, come check out the live stream where I can actually communicate with you guys and do some things more on the go. So please check out the other videos I got, and I'll have to catch you guys next time.